He's an author. He's a high-level attorney. He ran for public office as a senator from the state of Virginia, and he's been a great host or guest on this show. He should be hosting this show. He is Jonathan Emord. Jonathan, it's good to hear your voice, my friend, and good to have you back on Truth Talk.
Great to be with you, Stu.
There's so much going on. There's this rah, rah, rah from the right that, Donald Trump was elected and he's got Musk and all these people, these reformers. But then there's this very loud, clamorous upsettedness on the left. People are saying, well, they're taking away they're taking away all of our rights and all of our money, and people are going to be cut off, and they're taking these poor immigrants and making them go back to their country. And so, Jonathan Emord, you're a man of faith. You're an articulate man. You're right there in the middle of government, and so many people call you for advice. And I wanted you just to give us a perspective of what's really going on. Is this a good time for our country, or should we be afraid of all these changes, this DOGE department and everything?
It's a fantastic time. This is the greatest time in our lifetimes, really. With the achievements that the Trump administration has made in the first 60 days of the administration, it pales, other administrations pale by comparison. Trump is simply restoring the primacy of individual sovereignty for the American people and ensuring our safety and ensuring that our whole government is no longer just a giant candy jar that these liberal Democrats put their hands into whenever they want and take out whatever they want, and that we pay for. I'm delighted. It's a restoration of the American Republic. It's a reaffirmation that the American people are sovereign, that our government was instituted for the very purpose of protecting our rights, not to create a privileged class of individuals who would rule like oligarchs and steal from us for their own personal benefit. That has gone on for too long, and this president, with the assistance of Elon Musk and DOGE, is showing over and over and over again that he is going to protect our interests, that he is going to put Americans first, that he is going to end the whole insanity of wokeness, and he's going to secure the borders, and he's going to make sure that our food supply is safe and that no longer are those who, in big food and big drugs, they're not going to call the shots when it comes to the safety of the American food supply or the safety and efficacy of drugs. It's now going to be a new ball game, and we're going to see, for once, the American people triumph over bureaucracy.
Hey, Jonathan Emord, thank you for being on again and for those words. And I really am, there are a lot of concerns. I've been seeing these words from the left saying, hey, this new president, he's a fascist. He's trying to compare him to Hitler, trying to take away all of our rights and all that. But you've been advocating in the public interest for decades, and you've been an attorney at the highest level. You've taken on the FDA. You've been in massive court battles against the government when it's tried to take people's rights away. Give us your perspective on how this is where America is better off with Donald Trump, who, by the way, seems a bit more humbler too, and he seems like he's putting us on a better track than even his first term. But I want to speak to that claim or the attack of him being a fascist in all these folks.
Donald Trump is the farthest thing. Donald Trump is the farthest thing from a fascist. A fascist takes rights away and establishes a corporatist state. Ironically, those who are accusing him of fascism were in fact responsible for elevating a bureaucracy into a state of fascism, into a bureaucratic oligarchy that colluded with big business and deprived us of our rights and did so with impunity, all the way from censoring health information to denying us access to experimental drugs when we're terminally ill, to trying to make sure that everybody wore a mask and was vaccinated before they could be employed. Donald Trump is restoring protection for Americans' rights to life, to liberty, and property. That's the farthest thing from a fascist. It's in line with the great presidents of the United States, from George Washington to Ronald Reagan. It's exactly what our government was supposed to do, protect our rights and not serve as a big fat candy jar for special interests.
Jonathan, how should people listening, especially people of faith that we appeal to on Truth Talk? I'm Stu Epperson. So grateful for all of our amazing affiliates that carry the show. So grateful for all of our listeners that support us and support our partners. Jonathan, how should people of faith be praying for our country, for our government, for our leaders? You know, the Bible calls us to pray for whether our president is a Kamala Harris, a Joe Biden, or a Donald Trump. We're to pray for our leaders. Give our people of faith a challenge in these uncertain times and in this new kind of regime. How would you advise us on our prayer life and on being good citizens, responsible citizens?
Well, I pray for the foundations of our republic, which are divine, the Constitution, for the separation of powers and the non-delegation doctrine, and for the protection of individual liberty against government, and for a reaffirmation of our role as citizens to not only have rights, but to bear good responsibility, to ensure that our children are brought up in a wholesome environment, to ensure that we will stand up and fight against instances where there is an effort to corrupt the morals of our youth and to lead them astray and into drugs and to fentanyl, and the effort to deprive us of our right to protection for the nation that we have, our borders, to ensure that we pray for Border Patrol, that they may succeed in protecting us and ensure that the borders do not continue to be open. Trump has done a miraculous job in just a matter of weeks. We should pray for that to continue. We should pray for his health. We should pray for protection of his person as he goes about fearlessly, and despite numerous people of ill will who would like to take his life away. We need to pray for him. We need to pray for the agenda that he has adopted, which would reaffirm the founding principles of this country and protect Americans' rights and interests. We should pray for each of his cabinet members. We should pray for all of those who are instrumental in achieving this Make America Great Again agenda. We should pray for the greatness of our country, for its divine role to serve as a city upon a hill, a beacon of light for a world in darkness. We need to lead. That is our destiny. Let's do that in fulfillment of the will of God to ensure that that divine will triumphs. We are the instruments of the Lord, of Jesus Christ, and we should be mindful of that role. We have a unique benefit of living in the greatest nation on earth. We have the opportunity to make it even greater. And we have an opportunity to show the rest of the world that we can convey a divine light of morality, truth, justice, and defense of that moral agency, that freedom which God invested in each of us. For those things we should pray.
It's a great word. Jonathan, thank you for taking a little time to be with us. As we wrap up, I want to ask you real quick, Jonathan Emord, our special guest, he's a high-level attorney. He came up just shy of winning the ticket in the United States Senate, but I know he's putting his great skills to work, serving our country, serving a lot of elected officials. Jonathan, what is, we say a lot of times on this show, and I don't know if it was Cal Thomas who originated this statement, but, Jesus isn't coming back on Air Force One. He's the ultimate king, and we shouldn't put all of our faith eggs in the basket of government. Shouldn't put any faith, really, but we should trust in him. But we should, as citizens, as dual citizens of heaven as believers, but then also as we're citizens of earth, we're to vote. We're to be a part of the process. We're, like you just gave a great compelling call, to pray for our officials. Give us your kind of prognosis, your vision for this country real quick as we get out of here. What do you see coming up, and what are the good things? Give us some good news, will you, real quick as we wrap up?
The good news is that all of the things that we thought were going to happen to our government as it proceeded so radically in the direction of socialism have been stopped and are being stopped and reversed. Not just halted, but reversed, so that we can have that unique divine circumstance at the founding, when a government was instituted for the protection of our rights, the first time in the history of the world, reestablished in earnest, and the powers and influences of the bureaucracy that have thwarted that movement, that have themselves be thwarted by a person in Donald Trump who is dedicated to that end and is absolutely tenacious and will not be stopped. This is a great benefit. We should all be grateful. It's a wonderful time to be an American. We are witnessing a revitalization of the American spirit and of the American mission in the world.
Yeah. That's a good word, a good way to close on. Jonathan Emord, just a longtime friend of this show, and he tells it like it is. Sometimes you make some people mad in doing that, but sometimes we need to take our medicine. We're grateful for you, especially in your battles with the government. Now you're fighting for the people, for the Constitution. Jonathan, what's a website folks want to learn more about you, your books, all your great work? I mean, you've done quite a bit, made a great contribution.
So emord.com, and they can obtain my books through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, wherever good books are sold. And it's just wonderful, really, to be alive today. I can't imagine what it would have been like if Kamala Harris was President of the United States. The contrast couldn't be greater and couldn't be of greater benefit to the American people.
Wow. Well, thank you, Jonathan. And Emord, EMORD.com. Is that correct?
That's it.
All right. Hey, God bless you, man. And we'll have you on again soon. And great talking to you. Appreciate your love of this country and your love of the Creator who gave us this country.
You bet. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Truth Talk Live.